You've probably heard the joke. Mattress stores are everywhere, 4 of them on the same block, always brightly lit, always empty, so they must be a front for something. Money laundering. It's one of the internet's favorite conspiracy theories. Here's the thing, it's not true. Fact checkers have looked, the biggest chain's own CEO called it absolutely false. But the real answer is actually more interesting than the myth, because those stores aren't hiding a crime. They're hiding a price. A mattress is one of the most quietly engineered purchases in retail, a product deliberately built so that you can never find out what it's actually worth, and can never compare it to anything else. Once you see how that trick works, you'll never walk into one of those stores the same way again. Start with the single cleverest move in the whole business. You cannot comparison shop for a mattress. And that is on purpose. Here's how it works. A handful of factories make most of the mattresses in the country. But when that same bed goes out to different retailers, each store gets it under its own exclusive model name. Consumer Reports put it in plain words, manufacturers sell the identical or nearly identical mattresses to different retailers with exclusive model names. So the bed you're lying on at one store is the Serenity Plush, the identical bed down the road is the Cloud Supreme, across the street it's the Hotel Luxe Pillow Top. 3 names, 3 price tags, and no way on earth to prove they're the same mattress. You can't pull out your phone and price match, because officially, the thing you're looking at is sold nowhere else. And on top of that comparison-proof product sits the oldest trick in retail, the permanent sale. The regular price is often pure fiction, a high number that exists only to be crossed out. Consumer Reports caught one example cold, a mattress marked down from a regular price of $2,685 to $1,074. Sounds like a $1,600 saving. Except that $1,074 was simply the normal price. The regular price it was slashed from had never been real. So how big is the markup, really? This is where the internet gets it very wrong. You've probably heard that mattresses carry a 1000% markup. There's no real evidence for that, it's a number that lives on blogs and nowhere credible. What the actual financial filings show is more sober and more honest. The largest maker, Tempur Sealy, books a gross margin of about 44%, meaning the bed costs it a bit more than half of what it sells for. That's a healthy margin, but it is nowhere near 1000%. So here's the accurate way to say it, the mattress isn't marked up by some insane multiple. You're just paying for the store, the showroom, the rent, the commissioned salesperson hovering while you lie down in your shoes, far more than you're paying for the phone. And that fat margin explains the thing that started the whole conspiracy. Why are there so many stores? Because when you make 40+ cents on the dollar, a single shop only has to sell a handful of mattresses a month to turn a profit. One employee, cheap retail space, and a product people buy maybe once a decade. So the chains do the rational thing, they blanket a neighborhood, for stores to a block, so that whenever someone finally does need a mattress, one of their stores catches them. It looks insane. It's just math. No laundering required. For a while, it looked like the internet age would blow all of this up. A wave of bed-in-a-box startups, Casper the most famous, promised to kill the sleazy showroom, one fair price, online, shipped to your door, 100 nights to try it. For a moment it worked. Casper became a $1.1 billion unicorn. And then reality set in. It turns out shipping and returning mattresses is brutally expensive, and the old players simply copied the box. Casper's value cratered, it went public at a fraction of its private valuation, and was later taken private for around $300 million, a quarter of its peak. Meanwhile the giants consolidated, Serta Simmons went bankrupt in 2023, and Tempur Sealy bought Mattress Firm, the largest mattress retailer in America, a deal so big the government's own competition regulator went to court to stop it. And the regulator lost. In early 2025, a judge let the merger through. The maker of the mattress now also owns the biggest chain of stores that sells it to you. So, why are mattresses so expensive? Not because of laundering, and not because of a mythical 1000% markup. It's because the entire experience is engineered to strip away the one thing that keeps every other price in check: your ability to compare. Rename the product so it can't be matched. Invent a regular price so any number feels like a deal. Pay for a showroom you didn't need. And blanket the town with stores so there's always one nearby when you crack. There's even a quiet epilogue in the landfill, because a returned mattress usually can't be resold as new. Roughly 20 million of them are thrown out in America every year. The comfort is real. But the price was never about the foam. It was about making sure you could never find out what the foam was worth. If you found that useful, this is Why Is It So Expensive?, the series that follows the money past the price tag. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.